Hey, what do you do? It's your boy O2, and I'm back at it doing the most. And guess what? We have an announcement. I think I've made an announcement prior to this, but we're officially making it known, I guess, that this podcast will no longer be constrained to merely gaming topics. So that I feel like if you can talk games all day, but I feel like eventually I'm just gonna eventually start running around in circles with it. So we've rebranded the podcast. We just took the gaming off of it. We'll still talk about games, I believe, eventually. Something comes up, especially news related with games. Um, Fortnite shuts down, or I don't know, GTA 6 gets pushed back another decade. But it's going to be Do the Most podcast so that we can talk about anything we want each week. This week, I specifically wanted to not have a script, or not necessarily have a script, but an itinerary to talk about specific things. This is open ended, just to give us a gist of the start of Do the Most podcast. And unlike most podcasts where you have a bunch of producers, nice cameras clicking back and forth, we just have one for now. And we're gonna run with it. We're gonna run with it.
You're looking at the team.
You're looking at the team, guys. You are looking at the team. My buddy Zach Wade shot them, wanted to help a couple times, and life happens to people. Yeah, so we appreciate his help for a couple episodes, but we're going to continue on for the time being. I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't feel great today. I took one of my medications that I actually stopped taking. But it doesn't matter. I mean, I've been prescribed mirtazapine, brand name Remeron, for anybody that knows it out there. And I actually stopped taking it because, I mean, it can cause all kinds of bad stuff. You forget about serotonin syndrome being the worst, but like QT prolongation syndrome, y'all may not know what that is, but welcome anyways. I'm the medication it made me oversleep, made me very tired, and just irritable. But watch out for your medications, man. Big Pharma wants to kill us all. But no, I had taken it real late last night because I couldn't sleep. And I ended up oversleeping and feeling like absolute dog shit. Let's just be honest. And yeah, I'm paying for it now. But it was like 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep, so I was like, yeah, it'd be a good idea to take half of a pill. And the thing is, I don't take it daily anymore, and anybody that knows about mirtazapine, it's a very sedating it's an antidepressant for those that don't know. But it should be able to depressant at low doses, because 15 milligrams or less, and guys, it'll knock you stupid. Real talk. And I've done vowed that I'm throwing the medication away today, just so that I'm not tempted to like pull from the bottle. I am prescribed it, so if you're wondering, I am prescribed it, and doctors don't know. Your body. Everybody knows their body best. At least I think when I would ask people, they would say that they know their body best. And I think that it's time that I don't ever take it again, because I felt like I died, guys. I was just so out of it. Well, thank you guys for joining, man. This is an open-ended thing, so we really don't have a topic. It's us winging it. So I hope my wife carries a little bit of weight. Wink, wink. With just where the discussion goes. I think we're still gonna keep it at that like 30-minute mark for now. Until if we gain more traction with views, we may go longer, guys. But if not, 30 minutes seems like enough just to sit down, talk once a week. Kind of do it. Even if you mentioned like doing check-ins, we could do check-ins on the podcast. I know that sounds crazy, but maybe not. It's a good history record keeping.
It is.
You can always go back and go through and be like, oh, she wanted to do a thing to where like a weekly like marriage type check-in. How does it go? One thing we both that went well for both of us. Each person has to say it differently. Then one thing that didn't go well for each of us within the marriage each week, and then one thing
an action
the other person could do.
Yeah.
And two are introspective. One is looking at the other person, what they could do better in the marriage. And perhaps we could do here. Maybe not. That marriage is a very personal thing. Not any two marriages look the exact same. Here's the thing: a lot of people don't want to tell you that is true. Marriages can't. All of them are ugly at some point. Whether you're married 3 years or you're married 50 years, you're gonna get into some arguments, fights. I feel like couples that don't fight or argue aren't being truly themselves. You know, because I mean, you live with anybody. Eventually, something's gonna come up where there's disagreements. Uh,
We're humans.
We're humans.
And
yeah,
we have real feelings and real emotions, and
yeah,
it's part of living with somebody else.
it's part of living with somebody else. That's why, and I'm gonna step on some toes here real quick. And this is what I personally am not against a couple living together. She's going to disagree with me. We're not turning this into a theological podcast, but I do feel like it is kind of smart and wise to live with somebody that think about it. You've already been dating, say you've been dating somebody for a year or two. You're committed already to seeing them only. If you're thinking about marrying each other after the engagement, I feel like you should at least live with each other. Here's the thing. Let me reword that. I think you should. I'm not being demanding, guys. I promise. No, but I think it's wise and smart after the engagement. You've done committed to this one person in your life. You're not seeing other people. That it would be wise to actually live together before you get married to see if you can coincide and live together. I think a lot of reason why many people wait is because their religion says, "Hey, wait till you're married to live together because you're gonna have sex. You're gonna do that stuff." People are doing that regardless, guys. Some people wait. Some people wait, and finger clap for you. But a lot of people can't help themselves because it's just the way of nature, man. It's the way of nature. But I say that in saying that there's so many like Netflix, YouTube documentaries of like, I don't know who I married. I married a killer. Like you really don't know somebody until you live with them. Because then their habits, their desires, their ambitions, their goals, who they are really comes out once you sit behind closed doors for 24 hours, days, weeks, months. They can hide it for a little bit, but eventually the truth's going to come out. So I do think, like, if any hardcore Christians watch this, they're gonna vehemently disagree with that. But why is the divorce rate so high among even Christian communities versus secular communities? It's dang near the same, if not higher. Now I haven't checked them recently, but I think it was like up to 40 or 50% of Christian marriages failing at some point. It may not be that now. At some point, I want to say it was at least half or close to it. I can do a look up real quick, but that's not the point. I won't do it. Psych.
Marriage takes a lot of work.
It does. It does.
Yeah. There has to be compromise on both parts. I think one of the best pieces of advice that I heard from my aunt, who had heard it from her uncle when she got married, is that marriage isn't 50-50. It's never going to be 50-50. There's going to be days where you bring 70 and I bring 30, and there's going to be days when I bring 90 and you bring 10. But the whole goal is to make sure that we're still equaling that 100%. Because we are all going to have good days and bad days. And it's important to pick that person who can help balance you out on the hard days.
Yeah, I think that's good words. Yeah, and really the thing is, how do you measure the percentage? I get it. It's more of a
but I think it's more of like just being in tune with. I'm running on empty. I need you to know that I don't have enough in the tank to bring the 50% today, and that's where like that communication is really important, so that nobody's being let down or feeling like they're always the one who's.
Yeah, I think I was just trying to put like how we figure the numbers of the percentage.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, that's not an exact science. Yeah. That's just it's putting it into terms that people can relate with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sorry guys. I like to get the devil's in the details, so to speak, and I like to get into them. No, but yeah, it definitely, marriage. It takes two, literally. It brings me back to playing spit fiction. It takes two. Uh, it does, man. Marriage takes two, and uh, I feel like I fail a lot. I'm not good. I'm not good at uh, maybe life in general, but marriage is something. It's a serious it's a serious move in life to get married to somebody because you're committing the rest of your life with that person. It's a vow. Used to be mean something. These days, not so much. But used to, like, you could get killed over vows depending on, like, who your allegiance were, whether it be a nation or a commitment with to somebody. Like, I mean, it was bad back in the day, man. And that's why there's a running joke in the philosophical historian community that they called it the medieval for a reason, because things were so dark and grim back in the day that they execute you for almost anything. uh, who can forget the Salem witch trials? Most of the people that were killed probably weren't even witches, guys. It was just mass hysteria and paranoia. As humans, we're really funny creatures. We are really funny creatures. I was just talking to my wife before we even started shooting the episode that um, we think we're all this and that, man, but really all this is that we think we are is ego. It's an accumulation of what we think we are within ourselves. A lot of times that ego can get in the way of a marriage. It can get in the way of anything. Um,
Friendships, jobs.
Friendships, jobs, uh, even goals and ambitions. Your ego can get in the way. And what is ego, to describe it a little more in detail without losing a bunch of you guys? It's literally an accumulation of what you've been told you are or what you think you are. Oh, I'm a teacher. Using you as an example. I'll do it just a baseline. Oh, I'm a teacher. I'm a musician. I'm a this. I'm a that. I'm a this. But I had recently mentioned. It's kind of funny. I've been writing a philosophy book. It will not ever go out for sale. This is hopefully for somebody that picks it up 300 to 500 years from now, if that time still goes on. But there is something in here that I may read real quick. It's pretty. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of an ego death, but if not, there's plenty of resources on YouTube alone and Google about ego death and how to have one. You may not want to, may not be up your alley, but if you want to be a little more enlightened, guys, a little more in the loop of existence, I would recommend it. But again, it's not for everybody. For some people, it can actually probably make things worse. But I wrote this, and I've been writing through this. Well, how long would you say?
Probably 6 months.
About 6 months, and I have it almost filled all the way up. I still have it like two or three little few pages, like chunks that doesn't, but it's mostly filled. But I'm going to the spot where I just lost it. Gosh, guys, leave it to me to lose track. Um, but it talks about ego death, and just a really good kind of questioning to get to that point. Like I said, there's better resources on YouTube than me, but this happens to be our first attempt. Next week we will have an itinerary to kind of bounce around on topics. But this week I wanted to do
We're doing
open
fine.
ended.
We just gotta keep rolling with it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we would just, how I am. I like to, I like to be organized, guys. Here's what I wrote, and I wrote this probably 2 months ago. I said, ask yourself with all sincerity and honesty. So that means, like, no jokes aside. All jokes aside, actually. Who am I? Then lay and meditate on this question for 20 minutes. That means literally lay and focus on your breathing. And the only question you should be asking yourself if you're thinking about anything is, who am I? Then usually with meditation, you're quiet in your mind, so you're losing bodily sensations, meaning you'll eventually, if you lay there long enough and do not fall asleep, you'll actually start losing sensation of your body first, like the sensation of, like, my legs right there. Like, that's how you end up falling asleep. The hypnagogic state It's a very hard word to say and to spell. It's just that little window of space between wakefulness and sleep. But lay there 20 minutes and then arise and answer. Who am I? Who are you? Aside from the roles, your gender, your social, financial status, aside from your career, your hobbies, who you are at your core self, when everything from this reality is stripped away, what are you? Who are you? I am trying to show you how to have an ego death where you feel very intense about every atom in the universe. When I did this before even recording. I started I was doing just kind of an exercise of asking myself, who am I when I strip? Oh, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm an author. I'm a Fortnite YouTuber. Even though I'm still a small YouTuber, I've not been doing it long. Who am I aside from all of this that I am? A son, a nephew, an uncle. Who am I? And it's kind of crazy, guys. You're gonna kind of get weird, maybe a little weirded out when I say this, but I am. At first I did say I'm a being. I am living. I am, but then I started. I like to boil it down to brass tacks, so to speak. I like to deduce stuff to, uh, how would you say it? Simpler, the most simple solution. And literally, I ended up saying, I am. That's who I am. Who am I? I am. That's just who I am. I know that sounds stupid, but on a philosophical scale and even spiritual, hey, some Christians might be, I don't know, I'm not trying to make anybody mad. I'm not even trying to claim to be God. I'm not, I promise. I am a mere mortal man. But when I strip everything away from me, I literally just am. In the moment, that's a good thing. That's a good grounding way to think, because I just am. Until I die, I am. That is a good way to think about it. And that's just the start of having an ego death. I've nearly had ego deaths. I'd like to say I've had some where I didn't even know who I was. It's hard to explain, other than losing sense of yourself. The accumulation of who you are, what some people would call a soul, but ego and the soul, I think, are a little different. I'm not 100% sure. I know they've tried to weigh people right as they die to see how much the soul weighs, and they claim it's some kind of ridiculously small amount of weight. I think that's just air. They expel air. But who can know, as King Solomon says, and I think it's Ecclesiastes, who can know whether a man's, we are going a little theological and philosophical, but who can know whether a man's spirit ascends upward and a beast, such as an animal he's mentioning, ascends downward, meaning just to the earth? Who can know? A lot of people claim to, but even the wise King Solomon did not know for sure. That's why he was kind of shooting out a question, I guess, for the many, many, many generations after him to come to try and answer. A lot of people think they know the answer, but knowing something requires proof and evidence. Um, but yeah, I'm not trying to go down a rabbit hole of that, but what do you think? Yeah, my wife's not too. She doesn't like when I talk about this stuff, and you may not either. That's why, hey, drop some stuff for us to talk about beyond what I typically like to go down on avenues. Because I tend to just go down the philosophical route, hence why I'm writing a book. That's not going to be sold out to the public because it is kind of choppy. If I was to write something from it, I would have to make pull things that are from the same topic and make a chapter out of it, and then do the same throughout and break it down. Versus how I kind of, if you look through the book, it's actually very haphazard. There's lines drawn from different days that I've just ideas and things that's come to my mind that I've written down. That if you read just front to back, it would make sense, but you would be like, this isn't organized. And from somebody that's very organized, it's very a disorganized book with a lot of organized thought and some disorganized. I say that because I've even went in there and tried to like journal a little bit, and even try to catch myself in a manic episode or being irritated and try to find out why, the root reason why. So there's like a lot of different stuff in the book. It's not just um, philosophical. I even have some science in there that I want to fill in a little more details of in the brain because I'm a little obsessed with the brain and how it functions on a molecular scale. But that's what I'm saying. Besides me being a gamer, guys, I am a very spiritual person, despite some of the things that I may have said, especially on social media in the past. I'm a very spiritual person. Um, my wife has gone dead air. Uh,
Oh, I just don't have anything to contribute right now.
okay. Um, so I, you want to switch gears? I mean, you can.
I don't know. My train of thought's kind of gone.
Guys, I have caused my wife's train of thought to just vanish. That's crazy. I've got a superpower, guys. I can just confuse people. I do kind of lose people when I get into these deep conversations, which I would love. I know I'm a small YouTuber, but one person I would love to have on my podcast, he would never show up over here. He's from, I think, the UK, and a lot of you may know him, Alex O'Connor, uh, young philosopher of our day. He was actually an atheist turned agnostic. A lot of people think he's converted to Christianity. It's not necessarily the case. He's just more open to the idea of there being a deity or a creator or some kind of intelligence beyond what what modern day science likes to say. Like, oh, we can't confirm or deny. He's actually open to the idea, and if you don't know I'm talking about, literally go on your YouTube after this and type in Alex O with the apostrophe. I think, yeah. Mm-hmm. O and then O'Connor. Probably one of my favorite philosophical people to watch anywhere, like on YouTube and just in general. Besides like Sadhguru for like wisdom and stuff, Alex O'Connor he asks the deep questions and he goes uh, as deep as I go, but he's I guess a little more intellectually. What would you call it? For distinguished versus me. Um, I would say I'd like to say I know a little more Bible than him, but I don't know. He's very well versed in a lot of literature. Very smart, intelligent guy. I'd love to sit down and talk with him one day. Don't know if I ever get to because he is from I want to say somewhere in Europe, but a very intelligent guy. I highly recommend you watch him if you're if you're 1% interested in philosophy, religion, anything, because he has good videos. I remember when he started years and years ago. He was young. He had to have been like 20 or 21 years old because he's now like 26, 27. I'd been watching him for, I don't know, felt like forever. Because he used to be in like atheist versus Christian debates. I got obsessed with watching them. A lot of them were like 2 or 3 hours long. I just like seeing both sides of the coin. I don't like to say the same coin, but just two different sides um, debate it out. I know a lot of people don't like that. They're like, I don't want to challenge things. I just want to see both sides of every story, no matter what it is. A lot of times we look at like a criminal and we just see them for their worst mistake. You know, maybe that action they did was the worst mistake of their life. But we fail. What we think, I think we do as humans, we fail to see this whole story. We go back to their childhood, what happened in their childhood that led them up to that point. A lot of people just look at people at face value in the moment, at their worst moment specifically, and then judge them based on that. And we should never do that. We should always a good detective gets all sides of the story before he tries to figure it out. I would think, and that's what I like to do is to really think about people all the way back and even try to get their point of view in my head and try to see through their eyes. And that's where sympathy turns into empathy, is when you're trying. I will say this: empathy is the successful performance of practicing sympathy, trying to feel what other people feel, um, and where they're coming from, and what makes them tick, and why they tick the way they tick. So I don't know if you want to elaborate anything on that.
I mean, we're complex individuals.
Yeah.
I think it's also important for people who maybe even have committed those crimes or done the questionable things, like they have to look past those things too and forgive themselves and realize that they are a complex person. Like it requires turning away from those evil things. And I'm not using evil in like a religious term or anything, but those mistakes that they make, like it requires walking away from them to grow personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's both sides. Like it's people who maybe the bad things have happened to, as well as the people who have done the bad things. It requires moving past and growing.
Yeah, and here's the thing, guys. Just because somebody murders or does something crazy, and we like to think murder is like one of the top three biggest, worst things you can do. But everybody, you watching right now, has done something very evil in the terms. We can even include religion. Everybody watching this, everybody that will ever watch this, has done something purely heinous. Maybe you haven't murdered somebody, but you couldn't help but be gossip about somebody. You couldn't help but somebody. Everybody's messed up. Everybody's made boo boo mistakes. So who's to say one's greater than the other? Really, when everybody, even the animals, make mistakes. And I say animals, we are animals, but in a sense, the other animals that don't seem to be as complex as us. How look at us on Earth versus the animals. If you zoom in now, if you're from the ISS, there's an astronaut effect that like nothing matters once you get out in space. You don't see nothing. You see Earth and water. But when you zoom in, we do seem a lot different than the other animals. You see all the buildings, the technology, the societies, the language and communication. Not to say that whales and dolphins and other animals don't communicate and mourn and have emotions, but we are definitely different in a very profound and essentially an existential way, that we can have memories, we can recollect from the past, that we can worry or prepare for the future. Um, that I don't think most animals have that capability. It's pretty fascinating. Pretty fascinating. So, if you would like to elaborate on that, if you don't, I think we'll close out for this podcast. Like I said, next podcast will be a little more organized. I didn't want to open end it and just this is the beginning of Do the Most. We have been running for several weeks now. In fact, it's been a couple months of running Do the Most Gaming podcast, but it's still Do the Most, but it's just podcast now. We're not limiting ourselves to games, and we will be more organized the next video, guys. But for now, I did want to do an open-ended one just to see how we do. I'll play it back before I even release it, just in case I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't release that. But I think everything I touched on is okay. Cool. Leave your comments on what you think and leave some ideas. If you want to hear something specific for us to talk about, please do not hesitate to drop it in the comments. We would love that. In fact, it would make it easier for us to build more podcasts and talk about stuff that you are interested in. Maybe you were like, this was a bummy episode. Drop a comment. You be the one to drop the comment first. Appreciate you guys for watching. You already know O2 does the most. Keep watching my Fortnite videos there. Our schedule has changed too. I'm going to say it on the podcast too. I'm dropping for at least a week or two until we can get some backlog. And we're trying to run through Split Fiction. Fortnite episodes will be dropping Wednesday through Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I might do a live stream or two so I can catch up on the live streams and prepare for the podcast. And we're wanting to look to do more adventure shorts, videos, all the things. I want to eventually go to Waverly Hills Sanatorium. I've been wanting to do it for years and just haven't ever got around to it. I've had the time, had the resources, and just never went because the paranormal is interesting to me. Shout out to Sam and Kobe too from YouTube. If you haven't watched them, go check them out if you're interested in the paranormal. Sam and Kobe. That's all you type in YouTube. They'll pop right up. They're really fun to watch. See you guys in the next episode. Be sure to check out my thriller books if you're new to the channel. If you're not, you hear me talk about this and preach about it all the time. Check out my thriller books. Links are down in the description of this video if you're watching on a mobile device. We will see you in the next episode.